Usenu Dabo and UDP team, they are causing us the problem.
Bachile accuses UDP of holding the country to ransom as constitutional talks are not taking promising lead. Police units setting up strategies to combat skyrocketing criminal acts in the Gambia. These and more coming on GAMBIA24. Good evening, this is GAMBIA24 with me, Sohna Tunkara, and now to our news in detail. Gambia's constitutional talks in Banjul have failed 1 week after similar talks in Abuja, Nigeria, brokered by Goodluck Jonathan, failed considerably as political parties could not strike agreement on the retroactive clause. The leader of Gambia Action Party, Musa Yali Bachili, says UDP leadership is behind the failure in the constitutional talks. Omar Toure has the rest of that story.
Talks on the draft constitution in Banjul have dashed hopes once again as Barrow Camp and UDP stalled the talks over the retroactive clause. Musa Yali Bachili, leader of the Gambia Action Party GAP, blames failure in the constitutional talks on leaders that are hungry for power and points fingers at Usainu Dabo as the deterrent to the talks.
Usainu Dabo and UDP team, they are causing us the problem. They are the one causing us the problem. And I'm urging them, if they believe that they will win the election, why all these talks? For us, Bachili, we know that we're going to win the election, inshallah. So that's what we agreed. All times they bring, we agreed. Come December 4th, December 5th, see us in the State House. But I think, and I believe, the paranoia of what's going on, the UDP are scared. That's why they're holding us a ransom.
Honorable Mama Kande, the leader of the Gambia Democratic Congress GDC, believes Barrow Camp and UDP should see national interests and put aside individual interests and settle the grievance between them.
The only thing that is holding us is the two groups, that is the Barrow Camp and the UDP camp. So, of which I made a proposal yesterday that the two camps should sit together with a mediator and find a solution to this problem. Every one of them should recognize that the Gambia is bigger than an individual or a particular group.
Citizens Alliance leader Dr. Ismaila Cisse says a new legal instrument for the country surpasses everything and decries the absence of a new constitution that should take us to the elections.
What is important for us is that we have a new constitution, a new legal framework for the Gambia. It's not helping anyone. Not the voters, not the IEC, not the political parties, not any aspiring candidate. When 8 months before election, there is no legal framework. That sense of limbo, it's not good politically. So there are a few options put on the table that are going to be explored to look at their legal possibilities and also their technical viabilities.
The fourth round of constitutional talks spearheaded by Goodluck Jonathan ends in jeopardy. And should political parties fail in their efforts to reach consensus, the alternative will be to amend some parts of the 1997 constitution. Another option is to take the new constitution back to parliament for a fresh debate. The retroactive clause in the draft constitution that counts the first 5 years for President Barrow is what hangs the future of the Gambia into disarray.
Musa Bachili is accusing the United Democratic Party leader Usainu Dabo of being the main obstacle to the revival of the draft constitution. Now, the Gambia government has reduced the newly imposed COVID-19 testing fee for international travelers from $3,000 to $2,500 equivalent to $50 with immediate effect. The increment of testing fee followed the increase in the cost of COVID-19 protocols. The CC files in this report.
The Gambia government has announced that it will no longer offer free COVID-19 test certificate for international travel requirements. For the first time since the outbreak of the virus in the country, the Ministry of Health will ask for $2,500 before lab technicians will collect test samples from travelers. According to a press statement from the Office of the President, the charges attached to COVID-19 testing were necessitated by the rising cost of medical equipment, supplies and attendance. The government therefore found it logistical to share some of this cost with international travelers. For the government, this decision is in conformity with ECOWAS recommendations in harmonizing issues governing the COVID-19 within the West African sub-region. Under the Gambia quarantine protocols, travelers must present a COVID-19 negative test certificate upon arrival in the country. Individuals who fall short with these measures will undergo mandatory quarantine at Gambia government-designated facilities at their own expense. The Gambia has, since the first case of COVID-19 in March, recorded more than 4,000 positive cases, out of which more than 100 deaths were recorded. As of this week, 436 cases are on the treatment center. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
From the reports by Ndai Cisse, over the years, Gambia has seen an increase in series of criminal activities relating to murder and armed robbery. These criminal activities have instilled fear and insecurity among the populace in the West African country, despite security strategies implemented by the police force. Africa TV's Ndai Cisse again engaged the police PRO for enlightenment, as she files in this report.
Reports of residential crimes such as pickpockets, theft in crowded and isolated areas in the Gambia have increased. These criminals mostly target victims based on perceived vulnerability by threatening them with violence. The police PRO Lamin Jai said they are aware of these crimes and are doing patrols across the country as a means of providing security for the people.
We are equally very concerned about crime happening within the country, and that is why we are putting up a lot of strategies to ensure that we prevent crime as much as possible. And if it happens that crime occur anywhere, we are able to apprehend the offenders. And so we are doing patrols all over the country. This is why we are doing night and daily patrols to ensure that we are on top of criminal activities.
In the wake of high crime rates, the police anti-crime unit was set up in almost all police stations across the country. Although the issue of organized crime is less prominent in the Gambia than other nations in Africa, but it does present a serious issue for the country and its citizens. As part of efforts to mitigate the high crime rates, Mr. Njai said community policing has been introduced to address the situation.
So equally, we are very concerned, and that is why we also employ strategies of community policing to deal with issues about theft within the communities. Not just theft, but crime in general, because community policing has proven to be a very effective strategy to be able to deal with different forms of safety and security issues within communities. And that is to have people involved and engaged in their own safety and security, working and collaborating with the police.
In the Gambia, crimes of various natures are being conducted by citizens and foreigners almost every day. Reports showed that underemployment and poor economic growth has contributed to the rise in crime rates in the country. Statistics on problem property crimes, such as vandalism and theft in the Gambia, moderates for about 56.25 in 2020. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
The Gambia Police Unit is setting up strategies to eliminate or reduce the high rates of crime activities. We'll go with a short commercial break and continue with the news.
Hello! There's a new update from your favorite GSM operator, Africell.
For all of you that have struggled to buy cash power beyond $7,000, Africell has done it again. The limit to buy cash power is now up to $30,000. Oh yes, $30,000.
Buy all the cash power you want from your Afrimoney account by dialing *777#.
Where Africell goes, nobody dares to follow.
It's an amazing offer. Afrimoney just got way better. the threshold for cash in and cash out on your Afrimoney has been increased.
Where it used to be 10,000 per transaction, now it has been increased to 30,000. Meaning, your Afrimoney account, you can now withdraw and deposit up to $30,000 at once.
Cashing in and out just got 3 times easier. For more info, call 777.
Where Africell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Welcome back. You're still watching Gambia24, and to the rest of our stories. 2 witnesses appeared before the Truth Commission on Thursday to testify on the dead bodies found in Brufut, Ghana town. Ole Sam and Kalilu Jallo were both PIU officers deployed at Brufut, Ghana town PIU station when the incident occurred. And according to them, they were informed by an old man that corpses were discovered in the bush. They also highlighted the state at which the dead bodies were found.
Cross-section of civilians and law enforcement agents continue to testify and reveal what they know about the 2005 alleged massacre of the West African migrants. Mr. Kalilu Jallo testifies that upon receiving information that dead bodies were found at the bush, they were immediately asked by their boss, Omar Fadera, to visit the crime scene and confirm the information. According to him, he believes that the victims were either hit by a heavy object or were shot.
Anyway, when we arrived there initially and the state that I saw the first victim, I could not imagine what weapon was used because of the condition that I saw the person in it. Most time I don't know. At first I thought either he was hit by a hammer or a bullet because of the state that he was in.
Olisam reveals that in her observations, she believed that the nationality of the corpse found were not Gambians by virtue of the tribal marks they had on them.
I can recall there were some scars, some tribal marks. Yes. Some tribal marks, yes. Those tribal marks you saw on this person, are they the type you would see in the Gambia? Among Gambians? No, because if you saw them, you know that they are not Gambians. They were well built.
8 people were reportedly killed on the 23rd July 2005. 2 days later, another dead body was discovered. Olisam told the commission that a decaying dead body was also found in the bush. According to Kalilu Jallo, his boss, Couple Lamin Camara, instructed them to bury the 9th dead body. He said he objected to that order because it was unlawful.
In doubt. So it's not the right, it's not the proper way for me to go. Well, given that I did not know the circumstances in which they died, for them to ask me to go and bury them was something that I could not possibly want to get involved in. What was the right way? Authority informed for proper checking. They should have informed the authorities just as they did in the first instance, so they can come and evacuate the body to carry out checkup.
The witnesses confirmed that the 9th dead body was buried by other PIU officers. According to him, they were asked to conceal the information by their relief commander Lamin Camara, and it was never recorded in the police diary nor reported to their superiors. For iAfrica News, I am Khadijatu Seka.
From that reports by Khadijatu Seka, still on matters of the TRC, the Reconciliation Committee of the Truth Commission holds a reconciliation meeting between 2 NIA officers, Basiru C. and Omar Cham, and their victims, Basiru and Omar, sought forgiveness from their victims for the tortures they meted on them. Amindao files in this report.
The Truth Commission is established to investigate records of human rights violations, but to also consider reparations for the victims of abuses, promote reconciliation, and promote non-reoccurrence. Two perpetrators of the National Intelligence Agency, Basiru C. and Omar Cham, sought reconciliation with their victims at the Truth Commission during their testimonies. One of the victims of Omar Cham, Musa Jao, says he has forgiven Cham wholeheartedly after everything that transpired between them.
Moras ki bi mo he yow dañu la jox safar nga dem tour ko office Diallo daf ma jaaxal.
That's why when he told me that I was given a spiritual water to go and put it in Diallo's office, I was amazed. I said to them, me? I thought how I used to sit down in their office. Whatever they need, him and his genius, whatever they need, I will get up and go and do it for them. And now they are the people who turn and place these accusations on me. I was amazed and surprised. Because I don't have that habit and I don't have that way of doing things to people. But Allah said, if somebody does anything to you, Allah loves those people who can bear. Whatever he does to me in this world, I have forgiven him from here to the hereafter. I don't want Allah to put us together. I have forgiven him totally.
Saja Toure, a victim of Basiru C., says he is very happy that Basiru asked for forgiveness when he testified at the commission, and he has now forgiven him as well. I'm very happy. As far as today you came here and said you are going to appeal for forgiveness. I have forgiven you. I forgive you. And after all that, he became my friend. The chairman of the Reconciliation Committee, Commissioner Jallo, says he appreciates the reconciliation between the two perpetrators and their victims, and he thanked the victims for accepting to forgive their torturers. All the victims present at the reconciliation meeting said they have forgiven their torturers and promised to allow a peaceful relationship amongst themselves. The Truth Commission aims to prevent a repetition of the violations and abuses suffered under the past regime by making recommendations. The government and citizens aim at ensuring the crimes of the past never reoccur in the Gambia. Reporting for Africa News, I am Amindao.
Two perpetrators were seen reconciling with their victims. And with that, report brings GAMBIA24 to an end. Thanks for the pleasure of your company. Have a good evening.
Gambia may be the smallest country in Africa, but it will host the second largest gathering of world leaders